Hey everybody, so I'm back to work on this wolf some more. Had a little bit of time tonight. And just have to adjust my camera. I don't really have an awesome here, so bear with me. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, so we're just continuing on from part one. I showed you how to transfer your sketch onto your photo. And we worked on it a little bit. Got in we're still working on our first layer, moving into our second layer. It's kind of hard to tell where one begins and the next, one ends and the next begins, but this is basically the first layer. I usually do about 3 layers, at least 3 layers, depending on the medium. Acrylics, I use a lot more layers. I do really thin layers, but anyway, for the charcoal pencil, I use a soft black pastel and a white soft pastel to really accent and intensify the darks and lights. And those work well along with charcoal. So we're using charcoal pencils. All right, so let's continue on. So I did get flagged for copyright infringement for the music that I was playing in the background in the first video, like I thought I would. So tonight we're going back to the awesome free music archive. So yeah, so bear with the music as well. I'll try to keep up with the music as far as skipping to the next song. That one isn't great. I found a pretty good playlist. It reminds me of The Sims 3 building music, so that's pretty good background music to work to, I guess. All right. So let me grab so I'm just pulling up my wolf photo on my computer to use as a reference, and my cat is bugging me to get on my lap right now, of course. Man, I'm working. All right. So there's just there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. It's all relative, and it's all just dependent on where you're at right now. Isn't this music totally like Sims music? I used to play a lot of video games. I'm so, yeah. I put a lot of hours on Don't Starve. And Sims. Mostly Don't Starve together. That's one of my favorites. But I've weaned myself off of video games, so I don't have a lot of time anymore, so I want to devote more time to drawing and painting, of course. I played so much Don't Starve that I actually had dreams about living in the Don't Starve reality and collecting twigs and bushes. That's pretty bad. Not like lifelong dreams to make that my aspiration, but dreams at night while I'm sleeping. You just go back and forth from highlights to shadows. Right now I'm using my new it's called NU pastel prism. I guess it's Prismacolor. I think it came with my drawing kit with my charcoal pencils and graphite pencils kit. That's the only place I can think of where I would have gotten this. I have so many art supplies like pastels and pencils and stuff like that. I'm kind of my husband says I am a hobby hoarder. I do have many hobbies. But I've never, you only live so long. You got to kind of pick one and go with it. Maybe 2, maybe 3. So I've been drawing since I was 6 years old. My mom is also an artist, and she taught me how to draw a horse head when I was 6 years old, just using a number 2 pencil on lined paper. And I was like, oh, this is like magic. And I just stuck with it ever since. And so, yeah, I've been at it for a long time. And of course, you know, after she taught me how to draw a horse head, I immediately put a horn on it. And then that's all I drew for a long time until I was in my teens. All I drew, the only thing I drew was horses and unicorns. And I grew up in Arizona, so it's, you know, pretty dry. And I just saw that unicorns and trees and ferns and all of those things were so magical. Moss. It was my lifelong dream to move to the Pacific Northwest, and I accomplished that pretty young in life. I don't want to say accomplished, you know, those things just kind of happen. They come to you. You don't really plan it out. That's how my life works anyway. So I'm just dabbling on and putting in white highlights. Not so much highlights. This is actually, you know, the fur is white right here on my reference photo. And again, I'm sorry, I'm not very tech savvy. My husband, like, he calls himself tech support. So yeah, I'm kind of spoiled in that regard. So, but it also means that you know, I'm kind of falling behind in doing these things for myself. This music is awesome. It really makes you draw faster. I tend to, when I listen to, you know, music that I like, it tends to be much slower and more meditative, I guess, or hypnotic. I don't know, kind of like trance music, I guess. And it actually makes you work slower too. So I notice when I put on like electronica or something like that, I work much faster. So that's a tip for you people who are wanting to learn how to paint faster. So I'm just following, you know, you follow the direction of the fur as you see it in your reference photo. You don't just color it all one direction, you know, like you do when you have to follow the pattern. It's like I said, it's like sculpting. You're think of it in 3D and sculpting. And this music, I'm actually going to have to skip. It's a little too. Guess I'm already getting burnt out on the Sims music. Sorry. This is actually the hardest part of painting, is trying to find a decent song you can listen to while you paint. Goodness. So sorry. If only we were allowed to listen to the music we really want to listen to. It's supposed to be playing. There it goes. Alright, anywho. Continuing on. Alright. So I just put in some white around, you know, the fur. And like I said, it's just it's like a dance between light and dark. You go back and forth, from light to dark until you get your values. Values are the differences between the shades of gray, basically. You know, how dark gray is this compared to that light gray? Kind of like that, especially in charcoal where you're working in black and white or just two colors, monotones. Monotones are fun to do too. I've done I did another wolf. Actually, I think it was my first wolf painting, the hypnotic wolf. And I only used a blue pastel and a white pastel and black, of course. And those were the only colors I used in the whole painting. It turned out really nice. Definitely one of my favorites. The only regret I have is, that, like I said, that was the first wolf I painted. And I wish I would have got the whole wolf in there. I was focusing on the eyes, so I cropped it and left the ears out and all that. But I kind of wish I would have had the whole face in there now. But other than that, it's still cool. That's why we can always paint another one. And I just use my fingers to blend sometimes if I want to soften it, and it doesn't matter about the details so much. Or even if there are going to be details on top, I just use my finger to soften, kind of blend it in. I like painting the super fine dry brush. The dry brush between your finger. Anyway, just gonna move over here and cover this up so I don't smudge it and get, when you wear lotion and things like that on your skin, it gets into your paper. So I just use a piece of printer paper right here between me and my picture. So if you didn't see part one is where I show you how to transfer, like I said, transfer your picture and begin the first layers. So you might want to watch that one and see how to lay out your picture and all of that. So like in this part here is going to be, it's more gray. So I'm just kind of blending it, and I'm actually going to add a little bit more pigment in there. But it's more of like a light silver color, so I'm just going to use my hard charcoal pencil, which usually produces a lighter value. These pencils are brand new. I've played with them a little bit. I've been using them for my Patreon rewards, where I create an original charcoal drawing and give them away as prizes to my Patreon subscribers. They are. You're seeing what goes into these prizes right here. This is how they're created. So I have different tiers, different levels with different prizes, and you can win anywhere from an original 5x7 charcoal drawing all the way up to an original 12, even 16x20 pastel original painting. And then I have other tiers. So you can just check that out at patreon.com/Michaeline. Like I said, it's just many, many layers. You're doing a lot of repeats over and over in light layers at a time until you just get the look you're looking for. So right now, instead of using, I guess you could use the tip of your pencil. It's all on your own style. I tend to like to hold my tools like this, my blending stomps, my pencils, and kind of really lightly touch the paper. So that's what I'm doing. I'm lightly dragging instead of up and down. I'm just it gives me a lighter touch, I think. I'm just doing super light layers at a time. And don't press into the paper so hard that you scratch it and leave marks in your paper, like mars, tears, and things like that. Unless that's your style. It could be an angry wolf. And then I'm just going to take my blending stomp again and go over some of the stuff I've added in here. Just to push the pigment into the paper a little more and blend it. You have softer lines. To add some of the background values, and then I'll go over top with some highlights and darker values. And you're going to find that, depending on what kind of paper you use, you're going to get different results from the same tools. So it's just all experimenting and practicing and playing. And you'll find ones that suit you better. And it's, and you're actually going to be always doing that practice. There's always new things to try. And you'll find some that you like better than others. You will not get these results on printer paper. If you try and draw this on printer paper or lined paper, the results are going to be much different. I mean, they might still be cool, but you can't get the thing about the thicker papers. So this one I think was a 95 pound. I put it in the first video. The thing about thicker papers is you can put many more layers on, which gives you that depth. And you can do a lot more blending. I mean, it doesn't look like it. You're doing a lot of blending, but you are. That's what I know. I love watching. I love watching work in progress videos from other people and myself. It's been really good to watch my own videos and critique myself and make improvements. So we're always trying to do as an artist is get better, get better, get better. It must be perfect. My husband always scolds me because I take so long, and I'll be working months on a painting, and I'm like, it's almost done. And he's like, I don't think so. I mean, he's not critiquing me. He just knows that I'm going to keep going over and over and over it. He always tells me, it's not the Sistine Chapel. Just get on with it. I think as artists, we think that every one of our pieces are the Sistine Chapel, and that's okay. It's good to always do your best. So I'm just using a medium charcoal pencil now. I'm just adding a little bit darker values while also paying attention to some of the textures and the movement of the fur in my reference photo. All right, Red Honey Badger, welcome. So I'm also my own moderator. I do a lot of things all on my own here, so bear with me. I'm only one person. All right, so I did some shading in here. Now I'm just going to take my blendable or my kneadable eraser, And clean it up a bit by kneading in the color. Clean it. And then I love these kneadable erasers. I love them because you can shape them into what you want your highlights to be the shape of. So I want a fine point. So I just shaped with the tip of my kneadable eraser into a fine point. And then I can go in and remove a little bit of color. It's also blends. I think, I love it. It's a cool tool. There's also erasers, which I really haven't played with, and I would like to. Just the shaped erasers, the ones that are flat and the ones that are pointed. I don't know why I never had them. I've just always been happy with this one, so I never looked for anything else. I'm sure they're good too. They look like they would work well. I'll try them out sometime and I'll do a review. I'm just taking away some of the color in here where there's going to be white fur mixed in. And I'm doing it just like I do with the blending stomp. Just shape it in the direction that the fur is moving and the textures. Hopefully we'll get this one done tonight. I don't know about that though. These things take a lot of time. People don't understand. I explained that that's only on Sims 3 where they wave a magic paintbrush across the canvas and the painting's instantly finished. It doesn't work that way. IRL, you have to do it. You have to work with time. Right, so I'm just going to go with my blending stomp. I'm going to go and kind of stroke the outside of the fur to be longer and have more flow. And I'm holding it, think of like if you've ever done calligraphy where you have the flat tip and you drag it so that it makes this ribbon effect. That's what I'm doing here to shape the fur. This is the fun part for me, is the fur. I love creating the fur of lions and wolves and cats, because I don't know, it's kind of like playing music. You kind of have your own rhythm about it. And then I'm going to go in again with the eraser and do some more detailing in there, or highlighting. I'm just going to kind of erase. I don't know how well you can see what I'm doing. Like I said, I don't have the best setup here for this, all I have, so that's what I got to work with. And I'm going to do the same thing in the black part here. I'm just going to add some white in the same kind of texture. And it's not really going to do anything. What it's doing is removing pigments so that when I do add with the white pastel, the whites will be brighter, more intense. And like I said, it's just all, practice, practice, practice. All I do is paint. All I've done is paint since I was, like I said, 6 years old. Well, I like this new pastel, or I keep calling it a new pastel. It's Prismacolor is the brand. And I like it because it's shaped rectangular when you normally, well, my pastel kit that I have, it's Rembrandt pastels and they're round. So you can't really get you can until you wear it down to, this. You can't get the fine points and edges in with this as you can with the rectangular one. Or I guess it's square, you know. So that's nice for getting some of the fine hairs. I'm just going to blend it. I'm just doing this. I'm going to be just doing this for a while, back and forth, back and forth. I wish I could put it in fast motion like they do on Sims, but again, IRL works a little different. I've gotten much faster in creating. I would still like to be, of course, even faster because there's so many things I want to create, paint, draw, and sculpt. So I've gotten to where I can then complete a charcoal drawing in about 3 days if I work on it all day, every day. It used to take me months to do a drawing, just a drawing. So that's nice. You know, I'd always like, of course, I'd like to be faster still. I tend to lollygag. I tend to fart around too much on YouTube and Pandora trying to find decent music to listen to while I'm working. And watching YouTube videos, and yeah, I get caught up in the media. So it's kind of a good thing that I have this, well, I guess, this having to listen to the Creative Commons music channel. It's me working mostly. And live videos is a good thing for me too. I might actually get some things done and completed. I have a lot of work in progress paintings, and one of these days I will do a video showing you my space I have to work in, and all of the many work in progress paintings I have going on right now. They've been going on for a few years at least. Yeah, I'd say about 3 years. It's just that they're big and they're paintings. I'm using acrylics with those ones, so they take a while. So I take breaks in, here and there when I can to do quick things that I can complete quickly, so that I can have some content to share. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, so now's a good time to show you another technique I do when I'm drawing, is I will flip my paper. I'll flip it. I think I'll just go ahead and flip it upside down, and so that you work in the other direction for a while. And you flip your reference photo upside down also. So I'm going to do that on my computer. And that helps you keep things aligned, and I don't know, you get your perspective, it keeps your perspective tighter. So I love computers. They've been such a help. That sounds old. They've been such a help for creating as an artist. You can zoom in now to your reference photos, whereas before, you had to find one in a book or something. Calendars, the pretty photo calendars and things to find content to work from. But you could not zoom in on them. I love the Red Dwarf show. It's from, I think it's British. I think. I'm not sure. But it's pretty corny sci-fi. But there's one episode where the AI robot guy becomes human, and he's all disappointed in his new human self because his eyes don't have zoom. I don't know. I'm kind of corny that way. All right, so now we're just going to work on it upside down for a while and tighten things up. And you know, turning it upside down really helps you to see other things that you didn't see before. The same is true in life. Sorry for the sniffling. I live in Oregon, and there's just tons of fires going on right now, and it's just so miserable, hard to breathe, hot. And you'll be glad when summer's gone. So like I said in the first video, the nose is just as detailed as the eyes. There's a lot of texture and highlighting and shadowing in the nose. The nose has its own personality. So just give it lots of time like you would on the eyes. So I think it takes a lot more time to do the nose than the eyes. There's just a lot, it's just a unique texture. It's like leather, you know. And it's good, like I said in the last video, to, as you're painting things like the nose and things, have an image in your mind of, you know, go through, what does it look like? What does it feel like to the touch? You know, is it wet? Is it dry? And just the act of thinking, just pondering on those things. You don't have to have a wrong or right answer. You're just thinking about it. I think it actually aids in the final look of your picture. It's kind of like a hand-to-eye exercise. All right, so we're not going to, obviously we're not going to finish this tonight. We'll give it about 10 more minutes, cut it off at 7. And probably won't be back tomorrow. So definitely within the next week, we're going to work on this more. So yeah, yesterday was my birthday and my husband got me a new ukulele, which I don't know how to play, but I'm going to learn. And just brought it home and I'm anxious to go play with it. So cut this off a little early. I'm just doing some highlighting around the nostrils. You know, it's not going to be stark white, but we do want to remove some pigment so you can see, see the details. And help making the nose look more like a nose. I'm using my kneadable eraser again. It's one of my favorite tools. Oh, Baby Boo wants his daddy. He's meowing at the door. We have a big 21-pound cat named Baby Boo, or as I call him, Big Bubba. And he is a daddy's boy. So hopefully you can see this. See the difference that we've done here. It's these things. It seems like when you put it in when you watch a work in progress video in fast motion, it's just more fun. And it's just like watching it on Sims, where they just do the strokes and it magically appears. And I will probably do that with this video when it's finished. When we finish this painting, I'll go back and do a fast version to watch. This is a really nice, I'm really liking this pencil. It's a Royal brand charcoal pencil, medium. And it's nice and dark and soft and blendable. It's a nice pencil. Definitely would recommend this if you want to try charcoal pencils. And I actually bought these pencils with money from my Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys. It's always fun to get some new art supplies. I'll play with them. So with charcoal pencils, you have different values. You have light, medium, and soft, it's called. And there's also hard. So we have hard, soft, medium, dark. I guess it's called dark. They're dark. I call them soft because they're the softest lead, or not lead, but softest charcoal. So the dark one is the softest. The medium is, medium, and the I have so many pencils over here. I'm trying to find the one I just had. There you go. Hard, medium, and then dark. I have this one. Yeah, actually, for dark, I usually honestly use my black pastel, my black soft pastel, because it's but by the time you're ready to get that intense with the darknesses on your paper, that one is a good go-to. The black soft pastel, because it's so much darker. So I'm just gonna, hopefully you can see this. I'm gonna go ahead and use it to fill in these nostrils a little more, to get because the nostrils are the darkest black part of the nose. You don't want to do too much. I mean, you don't want to make it too big. It'll just be more that you have to work with. Just get the color in there, work kind of where you want it, and then you'll spread it around with your blending stomp. And I'm just blowing away some of the excess so it doesn't go onto parts of the painting that I don't want it to be on. Like I said, this is super soft, super soft. That's why it has some powder that you have to blow away occasionally. And then I'm just going back in and spreading that pigment around with my blending stomp. Yeah, you can see it. It's getting better. So I think, when you're doing this, you are actually sculpting the paper slightly. You, you can actually see it when you look at it under a magnifying lens or something like that. You can see depth and hills and valleys on your paper. It is like a very light 2D sculpture. So in the nose and the nostrils, I'm lining them up. And when I get them lined up where I want them to be, I'll go in with my pencil and really kind of push into the paper pretty hard to make the nostrils deeper. We're not quite at that point yet. I'm still spreading it around and matching things up. So it's just something to be aware of while you're working, that you are actually sculpting the paper. A lot of the stuff you're blowing away is actually paper that's being worked down. It's like I call it dry sculpting, working with pastels or charcoal. So you are really sculpting. So this is a different brand. This is a Derwent, I believe. The brand has gotten eaten away, and it's pretty nice charcoal pencil as well. I've had these for a long time, but they don't seem to hold up well, unless it's just because I've had them a long time. They just don't seem to hold up well in a pencil sharpener. And they got just I haven't really got to use them much because, well, I'll show you. This one I showed you earlier. I haven't used this pencil down to this point. It's been sharpened and broken and sharpened and broken repeatedly. I don't think I've actually ever used this pencil because it just keeps breaking off in my pencil sharpener. So that's another reason I use my soft pastel. It's frustrating when you spend money that you don't have on art supplies and then you don't even get to use them because they're kind of not great quality. And Derwent, it's supposed to be a good name, and I do. Like I said, I like the pencils. I never got to use it because it just didn't hold up in a pencil sharpener. I don't know how else to use it if you can't sharpen your pencil, right? All right, well, it's 7 o'clock already, guys. So I'm just gonna wrap it up. And apparently we're going to be doing a part 3. It'll probably be sometime next week. Maybe this weekend. I'm just going to go ahead and do this little part here. And I will try to give more advance notice. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see, and hit the little notification bell if you want to find out when we're going to be going live and working on this some more. I've been impulsive and just popping in and doing a live video without any advance notice for anybody. So I will be better about it. I'll actually plan this time, and we'll continue. Planning makes everything better. All right. So thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you guys next time. I'm just going to turn this around so we can get another quick look of what we've accomplished in an hour. All right. I don't know if it's noticeable yet or not, but it's looking good. All right. We'll see you later.